So Jeff, I had talked to Nick a couple of nights ago, and about all this controversy that's been going on with all the weirdos, the former Nick stands who have flipped on him, and I was
Yeah.
like, and Nick was like, these people have no fun in their life, none, zero.
None.
And see, here's the thing, Nick, if I was one of your viewers, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? But like, that would make me turn it off. It'd be like, because if something hits me out of left field, I'm the guy, Jeff, who starts asking chat like,
Yeah.
no, really, what, like, I don't get, like, where is this coming from? Give me
There's
some
got to
kind
be a
of
story
context.
behind this.
There's a
yeah.
story behind it. Like, I'm intrigued by things that are
boy.
kind of out there. So,
Oh, it's been a ride, man. It's like, and then people like send me messages like, "Are you doing this?" I'm like, "No," and they're like, "But it looks like you are." I'm like, "But I'm not." Like, so that's not actually happening.
oh Jesus.
And then they're like, "Oh, I don't know, man." I'm like, "What do you mean you don't know?" Like, it was a joke.
I can't. Nick, dude, you know how I stand politically. I don't give a fuck about left or right. And I want people to start acknowledging you. All you hear about is the left. You notice that, Jeff? The far left, the far left. So you're saying right-leaning people are that fun? Right? Oh, they're the beacons of good humor. No, they're not. Nobody look, Jeff, let's go down the line with what
The further right you get, the less funny.
Dude, it's weird. It like, and then people are like, they're like, "Aren't you a little old to be going out to a bar?" It's like,
Oh my
no,
God.
not really. Like, I'm going with my wife to a bar or a party or whatever. Like, we go out and have fun. Like, it's okay.
Making 13 years in future Nick's life, 53 ain't too fucking old to go to a bar to have fun.
Exactly. And the other thing, Jeff, this is what I mentioned this one time. This, and it's so weird because like this gets called a cope, and I'm like, dude, my oldest is 15. For the past 16 years, we haven't been able to go do this stuff. Like, we haven't been able to go out to bars. We haven't been able to go out to a party or whatever. And it's like, so now, okay, we go out and hang out at a party. We're responsible. Like, we're not doing a bunch of crazy shit. We just literally go out, go dancing, have some drinks, and then we go home together alone. Because that's like the new meme is like we're bringing other people. It's like, no, because I made the mistake. I mentioned that people tried to pick us up at the bar. They tried to pick us up at the bar.
Yeah.
We went home alone, but we had a fun night and it was a blast. And like, I'm buying people drinks, talking and just having a good time. People are like, "Aren't you a little old for that?" It's like, God, I hope not.
No.
Oh, these fucking people.
It's like,
It's
are
like,
you?
so let's hypothetically say you buy a $100,000 plus car.
Hey, fuck you, Jeff.
No, people are like, "What is this, a midlife crisis?" Like, I can't fucking afford this when I'm 20, you fuckhead.
Then I'm getting hit with that too because I bought a Mustang, which is just under 100,000. My Navigator costs more than my Mustang, by the way.
They're 135 here.
But yeah, but I'm like, someone was like, "Oh, he's going through midlife crisis." I'm like, dude, I've wanted a fast car since I was 8.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
If I could have afforded this fucking car
Yeah,
when I
correct,
was 20,
correct.
I would have had the fucking car when I was 20.
Well, Jeff,
exactly.
think about
I've
about
said
what's
so
on
many
your
times.
wall, right, Nick? What's on the wall of young boys? Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Mustangs, fucking Vipers, even, right? Like, so when they have the ability to get it, yeah, do it. You're gonna be here once. These people are devoid of fun.
And I'm like,
and let's just say that honest question. Let's just say you guys do go out to a bar, you do pick up another couple, and you bring them. Who the fuck cares? What the fuck business is it of yours?
I know, dude. It's
people?
painful.
One, yes, but two, like the crazy thing is like I tell these stories because they're fun, and then people turn them into like this fantasy, and I'm like, no, guys, like we're actually just a monogamous couple. We happen to enjoy each other's company, and we don't think that because someone comes up and hits on one of us that the other person is cheating or that we're trying to fuck someone. Like we're just out having a blast, and it's okay. And I hope to Christ that like if you get married, that it's not a death sentence of because we went through and the other reason I tell these stories and I tell them frankly is because like we went through a lot of years where you get into this very like routine aspect of life. It's like I wake up, I go to work, I do the thing, I come home, I deal with the kids because you have to. and there's nothing you can do about it. And when you finally get to that point where you can go like, we now, and I explained it this way. The oldest, we had a kid before we had another kid. Our first son was 3 before we had our second kid. And then every kid after that was 2 years apart. And so I'm like, we have not had anyone older than 3 in our house since our first son turned 3, which meant you can't just go like on a week-long trip. You can't just go do this. Your kids have to get to a sufficient age. Or when we did go like on a longer trip, Lady Raggets was already pregnant, and that limited what we could do. Like she couldn't go out and drink. We couldn't, she'd get sick on fucking road trips. Like when we go to Hawaii or whatever, you drive around Maui with a pregnant woman, she's throwing up constantly. So it's like, we couldn't do anything. Now our youngest is 5. They can spend a week or even a week and a half with their grandparents and know that we're going to come back and there's way less trauma and stuff. It's like, we finally get to do this stuff. And I hope that when like other people have kids, and they're probably not going to have 5, but you have 2 or 3 kids and you get to reconnect with your spouse and go out and have fun like you used to in college or like before you had kids, like that you do, and that you don't turn into this person who is stuck in this weird thing. Yeah. And that there is like, I know there are people out there who are in those places of mundanity in their relationship. They're in that lull. They're like, and your wife has had kids. She doesn't feel very confident in how she looks. You put on weight with her. You're like, you don't know if you're ever going to go out and like just party ever again. You got to wake up and go to work every day. I hope to God that like to let people know, no, that is a temporary thing. And you do get to connect with your spouse again. And you guys do get to be you, even though you've changed and gone through some shit. You get to go and do these fun things. And it's okay. And it's an adventure and it's a blast. And like, I try and tell that story and people try and twist it into this weird shit. And it's like, why are you people like this? Like, why is this like, what you want?
What? I mean, so what if you do? That's just the thing.
So
that
what?
Pisses me
Exactly.
off.
But Jeff, there's always these people that keep saying it's the left. Like the left is trying to cancel everything. I'm like, I go, both sides are doing the same thing. They're doing it differently. Crazy. Like, okay, Nick.
One cancels because you're too degenerate. One cancels because you're not degenerate enough.
You're not degenerate. Yeah, exactly. Like when you look at Jeff, think about everything the right wants to cancel, right?
Drex, I grew up in like the late 70s, early 80s when Dungeons and Dragons just started. When it was a 37-page pamphlet that Gary Gygax personally zero copied, and that was all you heard about from church. They made the stupid fucking Tom Hanks movie where he went down in the cellar and stabbed his friend with a sword because he couldn't separate reality. Backmasking was the fucking shit. You couldn't buy music. In the 95, they had the hearings, the congressional hearings.
Yep.
That's where I grew up. It was all the right doing this.
It was the right. And yet you would swear when you talk to these kids now, they sit there and just, all I hear on like on YouTube, all you hear about is left, the far left, the left. I'm like, oh my God. Like, dude, wake up. They're controlled by the same people. But that's too much for most people.
It's like the weirdest thing. And like, people are whatever they're, I don't know. There's not a way to like change people's minds. I'm not out here to do that. I don't care. I just mostly just let it go. Because there's nothing to say. Like there's nothing you can say once someone decides something. That's the first rule of the internet. Someone decides something, that's decided, and that's okay. Whatever. But it's like the goal is like, just let people know that there is, and not to like shit on people, but there are people who talk, who have negative opinions of marriage or whatever. And they'll say stuff and Drex, of course, is here. Branca, well, sort of halfway with Branca because he's happily married for a long time in his second marriage. But it's like, there is actually a life beyond this thing. You're not condemned to boredom. You're not condemned to some existence that you don't think you'll like. You may have to take a pause from it, and you have to do that all over life. You get a job. That's really demanding. You're going to be working 60, 80 hours a week. You're not going to the bar. You're not going out. You're going to be fucking grinding your ass off and then sleeping when you can. Same thing happens once you settle down in that, once you get to the position you want or get the thing you want or open your own business and you get some time to yourself because you make your own hours and you get to that level, you get to do those things. It's okay. And so like my attempts to just let people know that life doesn't fucking end when you get married, and life doesn't end when you have kids, and life doesn't end when you have a tough job, gets turned into like crazy shit because people are begging for controversy. They're begging for something. And this is really gay, but I wrote an essay about this a long time ago because of Tiger Woods. And it was called, I was planning on publishing a book of essays, but it was called No More Heroes. Like because society became obsessed with taking down success. Yep. And like Tiger Woods, they tried to invalidate everything Tiger Woods did for golf, for black kids pursuing like a completely different sport, for bringing people into a different sport that was traditionally like white people only, remembering that Tiger Woods was the first member of Augusta National who was black, because they literally up until the mid 2000s didn't allow black people to join. Like they tried to invalidate all that because he was fucking a bunch of women. It's like, what does that have to do with Tiger Woods' like golf achievements? His like, you can disapprove of his marriage or whatever, and whatever relationship he had. Clearly it was not a healthy one, but like they beg for every single fucking hero. And we see it in modern media. Every hero now is an anti-hero or a dark hero with a troubled past or a troubled present or a troubled future. Every one of them. It's like, this used to be relegated to film noir. Yep. This used to be relegated to specific genres where you had a tortured hero. You could just have a Western, which was an outsider who came in, was fucking glorious and rescued and saved the day. You can't anymore. You can't do that. And it's crazy. Like the destruction of anyone is on the tips of everyone's tongue. And
that's what we were talking about